It's that time of year again. Time magazine is about to announce its Person of the Year for 2024. For now, they have released the shortlist, the 10 names the magazine feels had the largest impact this year. In no particular order: podcaster Joe Rogan, Princess of Wales Kate Middleton, President-elect Donald Trump, Vice President and former 2024 Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, billionaire Elon Musk, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum.
Other names on the list are Yulia Navalnaya, the wife of Russian dissident Alexei Navalny, Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. The magazine will announce its Person of the Year on Thursday. This is always a kind of silly
and vexing at the same time.
Silly and vexing. It would be Elon Musk and Joe. I'm going to be very American politics focused on this. I'm sure there are important events happening elsewhere in the world that you could make cases for, but Elon Musk and Joe Rogan are both kind of interesting choices given their very important roles in how the election shaped up. But that election was the election of Donald Trump, and I have a hard time seeing anyone but him as the pivotal figure of this year. Someone who returned from what seemed like permanent political exile after losing, and then facing all of the prosecutions, facing impeachment, seemingly facing challenges within his own party, took back control over his party, now exercises greater control over it than he ever did previously, has eliminated virtually all dissent within the Republican Party, came back and won in some ways a more impressive victory than a victory the first time around, was shot in the ear, defiantly stood up and raised his fist as that happened. You don't have to like anything about him, and there's plenty I do not like about him, but to say he is anything other than the man of destiny of 2024 is, I think, just to be a little bit, self-deluded. This is like one of the greatest comebacks, not even just in political history, but since Napoleon escaped the island and did Waterloo. And then Napoleon lost, whereas Trump won. So it's more impressive. So I've said that before. I've made that comparison. I will keep making it. That's how I feel about it.
Bigger than Napoleon. First of all, before I say anything else, let me give the disclaimer that Time has to give every year when this comes up, which is the Person of the Year is not necessarily the person who had a positive impact on the year.
Right, when they picked Hitler, it wasn't because they liked Hitler so much.
They didn't think Hitler's done a great job.
They should pick Hitler again, just to get clicks.
That actually caught me unaware more than I expected.
Now that's the headlines. Robby says Hitler Person of the Year.
Person of the Year. No, look, in terms of historical significance, it is hard to argue against Trump for all the reasons that you say. I think there's all sorts of negative reasons that one can cite for Trump in terms of what I view as authoritarian tendencies, the history of January the 6th, the going after enemies, the rhetoric he uses, the lies he tells, etc., etc. It is hard to argue that there is another person who has had more significant impact upon the year. It is also sad to me that Taylor Swift was chosen last year, so she presumably isn't going to do a twofer, otherwise I might have argued for her. Benjamin Netanyahu, there's a case to be made for the negative impact of him. I would be, if you want to say historical import, maybe. Sure. I think you could choose some of the victims of that assault on Gaza. I was tweeting earlier that I think there's a case to be made for Hind Rajab, the 5-year-old Palestinian girl who was killed in the most abhorrent circumstances, and which Israel later lied about until the lies were uncovered. Anyway, we're sweeping between very flippant and extremely serious topics here. I don't think they should choose Netanyahu, even with the proviso that it's not about positive impacts. Trump seems the most likely winner to me.
When I was picked as Time Person of the Year in 2006. It was a huge honor. You were picked as well that year, and so were you and everyone watching. That remains my least favorite gimmicky thing ever done by any publication when You was made Person of the Year, and it was like a reflecty mirror on the cover. Do you remember that? I was like, oh my God.
Too cringe.
They're having trouble selling subscriptions. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it was prescient because now it was a little YouTube and how we're all going to be creators of content, and I guess that is the world we live in. That is the platform we produce content for. I think of myself as a journalist and a content creator.
Sure.
You know, that kind of thing. So they predicted that.
Famous for 15 minutes, which Marshall McLuhan said in the 1950s or 60s, I think, and now that has become much more the way that people do have a share in celebrity. But yes, that announcement of You as the Person of the Year, I'm not in fear.
Yeah, so every time there's for instance, Taylor Swift, it was her second Person of the Year. Well, she was alive. She was alive in 2006.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to go back.
Second.
When are people?
Well, then it would be Trump's. I don't know if Trump was ever named before, but I suppose he was included in the You as well.
You and I are both getting older, so sometimes you talk to younger people and you're like, "Wow, you were born after 9/11.
I know.
You were born after." It's just wild.
I mean, I also think, like, the Person of the Year, I assume they're never going to abandon it because they get so much publicity from it. But and
negative publicity is still publicity.
It is, and we're happy to discuss it and all of that. It is one of those fleeting things where there is a 2 or 3 days of dispute or debate about it. It happens, and everyone goes, oh, whatever. And then that was
not me. I put it on a plaque. I hung it up on my wall. I put it in my biography. No, I'm just kidding. It's so annoying.
At the Soave residence, that You one is in the frame
Person
of the wall.
The Year. This guy. All right, I think that's all we have to say on this silly subject. But when did you say the announcement's coming out? Later
Thursday,
this week?
I believe. Did we hear?
So
Thursday?
we'll be able to react to it.
Exactly, live reaction to the Time Person of the Year.
Wow.
Tune in for that alone.
You will not want to miss that for sure. Hope you enjoyed our show today. I thought we had a lot of great topics. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can get your podcast fix. And we will be back here tomorrow. See you later.